Hey there, welcome to my channel, Caroline Strawson, Rapid Transformational Therapist, and I specialise in narcissistic abuse and psychological abuse, coming out of a divorce from childhood, in the workplace and with friends. So today I want to talk to you about divorcing the narcissist. But before we get started, I just want to check that you are subscribed to my channel, so just hit the subscribe button. And if you're over on Facebook as well, I have a group, a secret, private, secure group called Divorce and Breakup Support After Narcissistic Abuse. So if you want to go ahead and come and join that group, then please go over there and click and then answer the questions, and then you can come and join a really vibrant, positive, engaging community as well. And I work really, really hard to try and keep it as positive as possible, because I know what it's like, because I've been right where you are, coming out of a relationship with a narcissist, so I completely understand. So I try and really keep it as positive as possible, because I know what's going on inside your brain at this particular time, and I know you can be feeling broken. Also, take a look down below, because you will see lots of other links to things that I do, some freebies, and of course, if you want to work with me at any stage as well, you can get in contact and we can have a chat and see how I can help you. So today I want to talk to you about divorcing the narcissist, because you kind of think like any other relationship, if you break up, so you go through a divorce, you kind of have a little bit of conflict potentially, or even if it's amicable, you're still going to go through that grieving cycle, but then you can both go on your separate ways. Doesn't work like that with a narcissist. When you break up from a narcissist, the ongoing abuse can continue. And in fact, due to the nature of all of those brain changes, and I've got a great video, if you scroll down, where I talk about brain changes with narcissistic abuse, all of those changes mean not only does the abuse continue, but sometimes you can actually start to feel even worse. Because when you come out of a relationship with a narcissist, you will have been suffering from CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because you kind of feel like there's no way out. I know certainly for me, when I was in my marriage, I felt like I couldn't leave because I was tied financially and we'd got children together. So I felt like I was stuck. And then, of course, I actually got diagnosed when I was out of my marriage with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So I was really, really hypervigilant. I was suffering with anxiety and depression and self-harm. Now, you might look at me right now and think, wow, you don't look like somebody who would have suffered with any of that. My goodness, if you knew me in 2010, when I came out of my marriage, I was broken. I wouldn't look in the mirror because I felt ashamed, I felt disgusted with myself, and I was literally at rock bottom. So the person you see before you right now was not the person I was when I came out of my marriage. And I really want to reiterate that, because I don't want you to think that this isn't possible for you. You can heal. You can thrive after narcissistic abuse. It takes time and it takes effort, but there are really specific things that you can do. And again, if you want to know how I can help you, then I've got an online recovery program. I do one-to-one coaching, and then there's lots of other things that I do as well with events, and I'm looking to start a membership as well. So if you are looking to divorce a narcissist, so if you're watching this and you're currently married and you think that your husband or your wife is a narcissist, what do you do? Where do you go? Because ultimately there's normally three ways you end up leaving a relationship with a narcissist, and that is either they leave you for somebody else because they found a new supply, you just about managed to crawl away, or you end up dying. And I know that seems really, really dramatic, but narcissistic abuse is one of the most insidious forms of psychological abuse, because it leaves you broken. Because how the narcissist is to you, they portray themselves as something completely different to everybody else. So not only are you struggling with your own emotions, you feel like if you go and tell everybody what they are behaving like, nobody is going to believe you. And you constantly feel like you will need to validate yourself. So what are some of the steps that you can do if you're looking to divorce a narcissist and beyond divorcing the narcissist? Well, the first thing is we need to think about your safety. That is the number one priority here. Now, if you're already married now to a narcissist, this is your ideal opportunity to plan your exit. And the first thing is to make sure at each stage that you are completely safe. You know, that is really, really important. I volunteer at my local domestic abuse charity, and it's really, really important that safety is your paramount look into what you are due to start off with. So make sure that you are safe. So the next thing to do is take copies of everything. So any bank statements that you can take copies of, any pensions, anything that potentially that you have joint or you know that they have, try and keep copies of that. Now that might mean you go and get in a box, hiding it somewhere, but just systematically try and collate lots and lots of information and evidence, because I don't want you to, if you're still in the marriage with a narcissist, to suddenly something happen and you're gone and you don't have access to any of this. So if you have the opportunity, sometimes you don't have this opportunity, but if you do have the opportunity, please, please, please make sure that you can take photocopies of everything and start to create a file for yourself, a bundle that you know when eventually the relationship breaks down, you have got lots of things that you can potentially go to see a lawyer, that you have got evidence with the finances. Because I know really that's a lot of the time when you're married to a narcissist, what people worry about, whether that's the man or the woman, it's normally what you are worried about. You know, I'm going to end up with nothing. They're going to say this. Maybe you have the children. You know, how am I going to look after the kids? Maybe you're the man and you're working and you've got, you know, a lot of investment that you maybe had before you got married. What are you going to do with that? So there's lots and lots of parameters here. So the more preparation that you can have with everything that you have, the better. And it's really, really important for you to do all of that. The second thing is to look, where are you going to live? Are you going to stay in the matrimonial home, or are you going to move out? Now, sometimes this can be the ongoing abuse, because if you want then, say, the narcissist to leave and they won't, what do you do then? Because sometimes, and I see many of this in my group on Facebook, they're still living with the narcissist while they're going through the divorce. And this is awful for you. Now, there are lots of legal ramifications about if you actually do leave that marital home. So if you can stay in the marital home, particularly if you're going to be the one, obviously, who's going to stay and look after the children, then please do so. If you're not, then you need to look for somewhere else that you can potentially go and live, okay? Because then you can deal with the other finances as you go through the legal process then too. But my advice would be, if you're the one that is going to be looking after the children, to stay in the marital home as long as it is safe. If it isn't safe, then obviously you can contact local domestic abuse charities, you can go into shelters, but please, please, please make sure that you are safe with all of that. That is a primary concern too. But if you can stay in the marital home, then I would absolutely suggest to do that, and then obviously get them to leave and go and find somewhere else. And equally so, if you're not the one, obviously, who's going to have the care of the children full time, go and find somewhere safe to live close by, because obviously then you can still see the children, because it's really, really important that we put the children at the heart of the divorce, not right in the middle. And I've got lots of other videos talking about parenting with a narcissist, but I'm not going to go over that in this video today. So we're now staying in our marital home, or we found somewhere safe to live. We have prepared, we've tried to take copies of everything. And the next thing, when you eventually start that process, or maybe when they've left, there's 3 lanes I always say people are in when we start to go through a divorce with a narcissist. So one is the legal lane. And if you think about it like a triangle, so we have the divorce process itself, we have the finances, and then we have the children involved. And these are like the triangle of it. Now you can go through the divorce without sorting out any of the other 2, but my advice is do it all at the same time, because when you are dealing with a narcissist, you want to, as much as possible, draw a line under everything so you can carry on living your life. Now, what I will say is that first year, whether it was an amicable divorce and it wasn't even a narcissist, it's going to be a little bit up and down, because you're in the eye of the storm, because you're having to sort everything out and you've had a life together. So know that it's normal to be feeling like this right now. But when you're divorcing a narcissist, everything is heightened, because we've got the PTSD, maybe depression, anxiety, all involved with all of that. But what I would say is try and sort all of them out. So we have the legal aspect of going through your divorce. Then we have the emotional aspect. Now this is something that I work really, really hard with my clients and in my group, and then obviously doing videos as well. Because the emotional fallout from coming out of a relationship with a narcissist is great. You will be feeling lost. You will be feeling broken because you will have had potentially years and years and years of psychological abuse, and they will have whittled down all of your confidence, and you will be questioning everything. There will have been brain changes that have gone. Your memory will feel really, really foggy. You feel like this hypervigilant state all of the time, then you will be questioning everything. So this is when you really need to look at some emotional support. Now, I will advise all of my clients to create what I call a ecosystem around them, so a breakup ecosystem. And these are going to be really key, important people around you. So one will be the legal team that you are going to have. Secondly, a good financial advisor, so go and have a chat with them because you've collated all that information, remember. The third one is an exercise buddy. It's really important, however much you don't feel like doing any physical activity, is to have somebody that, even if you just go for a walk with every other day, get out in nature, get yourself more grounded, and just keep that exercise going. And that's really, really important. You might not feel like it, believe me, but let me tell you, it will really, really help. The other thing is your friends and your family. Now, when I say friends and family, I mean friends and family that are going to support you, not try and gossip and talk to you all of the time about it. If you keep talking about your breakup and your divorce, what happens is in the brain, we keep ourselves stuck in this cycle. And it's like you're reliving all of that trauma that you have gone through. And actually, sometimes you can feel even worse with that. So make sure you surround yourself with friends and family who will allow you to offload, but then won't allow you to keep talking about it. And that might seem harsh, but let me tell you, you need to let it out and process it, absolutely, because you'll be going through a grieving cycle. But if you keep talking about it, you will feel even worse. So you need to be really clear with your friends and family that, you know what, I want to talk about it, but don't let me talk about it for longer than, say, 15 minutes. Move that conversation on, because that will really help speed up your healing and recovery as well. If you have friends that are always saying, oh, I saw him with someone else, or I saw her with somebody else the other day, and they're constantly trying to tell you things about what your ex-narcissist is doing, you either need to tell them not to tell you what they are doing, because you don't need to know that, or you need to be really mindful of who you're surrounding yourself with at this time. That is really, really important as well. And the last one is a therapist or a coach, someone like myself who can really, really help you process all of this, because it's all very well having your friends and family, but they're emotionally invested in you. So having a therapist like myself and a coach who specializes in narcissistic abuse recovery, because it is unlike anything else. So you could go and see a counselor, you could go and see a therapist, just a general one, but unless they are a specialist in this area, sometimes sadly the information that they give you actually makes the situation worse. So you need to be really, really careful. If you want to go and see a therapist, that you need to make sure that absolutely they are an expert in this area, because it is very key things. And I teach a signature system called the Planner, which is the positive life after narcissistic abuse, because it is very specific things, and it's a 3-step recovery process. And it's really, really important to go through all of these 3 steps so you can go off and live a positive life after narcissistic abuse. So you need to have a really robust ecosystem around you at this particular time. The other thing I would suggest, and this is about communication, and you need to set this up from the start when you divorce a narcissist, because they are going to want to carry on abusing you, to control you, to manipulate you. So it's really important to set your communication up as such. So I either advise a parenting tool. So if you go onto my website, carolinestrawson.com, you will see that there is a parenting tool on there that I recommend, and you can read all about it. If you can't afford a parenting tool, what I suggest to all of my clients, especially if they have children, is email only. You create a brand new email address specifically only for them. You block them on all your other emails. You block them on text. You block them on social media. Now, when I say block on social media, that does not mean you set up another fake profile so you can go and have a sneaky look. That is like you scratching a scab all of the time, and you are never going to heal. So don't do that, okay? And I get it, because I've been there, so I know what it's like. Don't do that. Your priority is your healing, your mental health, and little steps lead to giant leaps. It might seem like Mount Everest right now for you to heal and recover, but we're not focusing on the summit of Mount Everest. We're just focusing on little base camps as you go up. So with the communication, they are blocked on everything. Okay, now if you have set up communication with the children, maybe they're going to FaceTime once or twice a week, you just unblock at those times, allow the call, and then block again. Okay, but otherwise email just that, and don't be checking that email every single minute of every single day, because we have the addiction involved with the narcissist. And again, I've done another video about that. You know, you automatically want to keep looking, and as soon as you get anything, you want to reply straight away, and you want that back and forth because your brain is saying, I need to feel like that. So it's hard, you're breaking that habit. And research has suggested that breaking the habit of the narcissist is 20 times harder than breaking the habit of heroin. So we need blocking on everything other than this one email address. Other than if they then have the kids, you unblock a telephone in case of emergency. But if then they start texting you and phoning you, you pick up the phone, and the moment they start to speak, say, is this an emergency? And if they start saying, and obviously it's clear, say, I'm going to hang up now. This phone is just for emergencies only with the children. And then you hang up. You need to be focused on you. Now, so many of us in this scenario, when we have children, we absolutely want to put our children first. We want to make sure that they are okay. And society tells us we need to co-parent. You cannot co-parent with a narcissist. You can't. You have to parallel parent. And if you liken it to two train tracks, if you have two tracks running like this and the train is going in the middle, those tracks never meet. Those tracks either side of that train never meet, but the train still runs smoothly. And that is your children. Your children are the train running smoothly. You're still devoted to make sure that you do everything right, and they can do the same. So it's you disengaging from the other parent, focusing on your mental health, because you can then be a better parent, okay? And again, there's lots of strategies that you can do with that, but that's not what I'm going to go into detail about today. So we've been safe when we leave. We've collated lots of evidence. We've then set up an ecosystem around ourselves, and then we've set up communication. Now, they are the key things that you need to be thinking about when you leave, you know, because that's covering the finances, the legal aspects, your children, your safety, and where you are going to live. So I hope that's really, really helped you, just to give you some food for thought about if you're thinking of divorcing a narcissist, or maybe you've just started down that process, of just some little top tips that can really, really help you. So remember, subscribe to my channel. I will be posting regular videos each week for you to help you heal and thrive after narcissistic abuse. It may not seem like you're going to get there, but let me reassure you, you can get there. There are lots of things that you can do. And like I say, hit subscribe. Go across to Facebook, join my Facebook group, Divorce and Breakup Support After Narcissistic Abuse, and have a look below at all the other things, the free stuff that I have, my online recovery program, the planner program, and indeed one-to-one coaching with myself. So take care, have a fabulous week, and I will see you very, very soon.